exist? What if it is just a figment of our imagination? Well, I will let you decide after you hear my stories. I hope you like stories. How about fairy tales? I bet you've heard those magical tales of Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, or of Cinderella and the Glass Slipper. But have you heard the untold tales of an unknown girl named Boy? I'll be your fairy godmother today and narrate to you Boy stories. Boy is a modern version of Cinderella, and Boy's big dream was not just to meet Prince Charming, but to see this big, big world with all the magic and adventure in it. Boy lived in a small island country located on the Indian Ocean called Singapore. Those days, Boy was studying at her university computers, and along with that, she was learning German. Boy was in second year, and a lot of our Singaporean classmates had already gone to Germany on exchange programs for a semester or two. Boy too yearned to go to Europe, but she did not have the money, neither could she afford the cost of living of a whole semester in Europe. Still, Boy was so mad. You know what she used to do? During her exam times, she would take her books and go to the Changi airport and sit there in the viewing mall and study. While all the planes bound Europe went, she would wave at them. She would say hello to Europe, I am coming soon. Say hi to Germany, here I come. When I saw Boy doing that, I laughed at her childhood fantasies. It was the morning of her statistics final exam. Boy was sleeping. In the sleep, she kept having a dream. In the dream, she saw that the exam was cancelled because it was raining heavily, until Boy suddenly woke up with a jerk and realized that she was dreaming and that the exam was still on. Boy rushed to the exam hall. She was running late. The exam began. The question paper came. Boy looked at it and her mind blanked out. She could not make head or tail of it. When the exam got over, they took away her paper, and predictably, Boy had failed her statistics exam, final exam. It was her final semester at university, and this was a core subject. So just to clear that one subject, Boy had to repeat an entire semester in the university. But Boy tried to reason with me. She said, there must have been a reason for that dream. Why did my mind blank out? There is something in it. And I just shook my head in disbelief. This girl making just any excuse. The new semester began. It was the first month. One day, Boy got an email at her university inbox from a university in Switzerland that invited students from all over the world to write an essay, and if selected, they would win an all-expense-paid trip to Switzerland. You know what Boy told me next? She came to me and she said, this is why I failed my statistics exam. This is why my mind blanked out. This is why I had that dream. Because I am going to Switzerland. I laughed so hard that I fell out of my seat. Do you know what happened next? Exactly 3 months later, Boy was dangling this plane ticket in front of my face. She had won an all-expense-paid trip to Switzerland. Had I not still been a student, I couldn't even have qualified to go on this symposium. It was the universe that delivered her dreams with exact precision. She had to fail to go on her dream trip. Okay, so that was just one story. Let me narrate to you yet another magical story. This time, boy was in Africa. After Europe, she caught the travel bug and she joined a student organization at her university and went on a foreign internship to Nigeria. In her first month in the country, boy got robbed. All the American dollars she was carrying with her was stolen, leaving her with zero money in a very difficult to survive country like Nigeria. Boy worked in Africa for 1.5 years. She saved every month. By the time she was ready to leave the continent, she had managed to gather about 150,000 naira. She called the travel agencies because she wanted to go back home. Every agency she called quoted her a price that was more than 300,000 naira because she was going to attend a very close friend's wedding. She told me that she had to go, and I laughed at her. I said, "Are you silly? Where will you get all the money from? You have to stay in Africa for at least another year before you can even think of leaving this country." Then one day boy told me she was taking her bucket bath, and during that time something inside told her, "Have faith, you will go." That day, boy took off work and she went to Victoria Island. And she decided to go and knock at the airline's offices directly instead of going through travel agents. She first went to Ethiopian Airlines. The official there was very friendly, and boy told him that I have only 150,000 naira. Please help me find a ticket. I need to go home. The officer looked through his system. Boy prayed, "Oh God, one day, one slot, one magic is all I need." Suddenly his face lit up and he found one day, one slot, one magic for boy. The ticket price he quoted was 160,000 naira. Just one slot was there. "Wow, what a miracle," boy told him. The officer, "Book that slot for me." He booked it and gave her a booking slip and said, "Buy it within a week, otherwise the booking will go away." Then I told her, "But boy, it's still 10,000 naira more than what you have." But boy's mind was working like lightning. She said, "If one airlines can give me this price, then I can go and find another airlines, maybe show them this slip and they will give me something cheaper." Boy walked confidently to Qatar Airways. The official there looked through his system and he could not give her any price less than 300,000 naira. Boy was not disheartened. She walked out and she went to Turkish Airlines. She showed them the Ethiopian Airlines booking slip and said, "Give me something cheaper." They looked through the system. They could not even match the price. Then Egyptian Airlines was nearby and boy walked in. Inside was mayhem. The officials were shouting at all the clients. Boy found a chair at the back and she sat down, watching the scene. She noticed one strange-looking girl with no hair on her head was being shouted at twice by the officials. Poor girl, boy thought. She had no wish of repeating the same fate for herself, so she got up and went outside. It was raining heavily, and boy did not have an umbrella. She came back again and sat down. She was thinking of whether to approach the officials or not. But the queues were too long and discouraging. So after a while, boy got up again and she went to the door. It was still raining. Boy stood there watching the rains. Suddenly she realized someone was looking at her. And she saw that strange-looking girl with no hair on her head was smiling at her. "Did you get your travel deals?" That girl asked boy. Boy thought she was another wretched traveler, one poor girl like herself, and the boy remembered that she was shouted at by the officials twice. So boy decided to share her pathetic story so the other girl would feel better. Boy told her about the Ethiopian Airlines deal and she said, "You know, I have only 150,000 naira and I don't know how to pay for this ticket." The strange girl asked to see her booking slip. Boy showed it and she said, "I am a travel agent. I will give you 10,000 naira further discount on this ticket. Boy could not believe her ears. Double magic in a single day? Wow! Come within a week and buy the ticket. The girl gave her officer dress to boy. Boy thanked her profusely and turned to go. Boy took a few steps, then she turned back. By the way, what's your name? Boy asked her. Faith, said she. You have a beautiful name. I've never met anyone with that name before. Boy said to her, and the next instant she turned away, crying, because she did not want the girl to see the tears that had already started flowing down her cheeks. When Boy told me about meeting Faith, I was flabbergasted. Once again, the universe had delivered her dreams in exact precision. It was like that abracadabra kind of magic, you know? When Aladdin called for the genie who granted his every wish, when Ali Baba shouted, "Open sesame," and the door opened. Voila, presto! Those magical stories that you read in childhood that inflamed your imagination, but that you lost in touch with, just like me, as you grew up. But Boy never grew up. She spoke to the stars and the shooting stars and the owls in the night sky. Do you know the meaning of abracadabra? It means, I shall create with my words. Have faith, you will go. Boy had told herself during her bucket bath. And a few hours later, she actually met Faith, who gave her tickets to leave the African continent. How much more precise can it get than this? It almost seems like those abracadabra kind of magic, the pie in the sky kind of story. No? Do you believe this story is real? Oh well, let me finish the story first. The African story does not end there. A week before her travel, one night, Boy woke up in the middle of the night and found her bed floating in water. It had rained so much that water had entered her room, and everything that belonged to her, her expensive saris, her documents, her certificates, her passport, was all submerged in the water. Boy panicked. In the dark, she groped for her passport and found it soaking wet, damaged by the rains. The following morning, she rushed to the embassy and asked them if she could use that passport to travel. They took one look at it and said, "No, you need to apply for a new passport." "But I have to travel in a week. How can I apply for a new passport now?" "Okay, we will issue you an emergency passport, but you have to pay 10,000 naira for that." Oh boy, where will she get 10,000 naira from again? It looked like an impossible situation. It was only now a miracle that could take her out of Africa. Boy had no clue where she would get the money. That weekend, Boy went to visit a family she had befriended during her work in the country. They had a little girl who Boy sometimes helped her with her mathematics because she was weak in the subject. And they often invited her on weekends to feed her good food because Boy was always starving in Africa. So Boy was making her final visit to their house, and she was giving her last lesson to the girl. When it was time to leave, the father said, "I have slipped something inside your bag. Go home and open it." When Boy went home, she had no clue what it could be. So she opened her bag, and inside she found a small envelope. She opened it, and then she started howling. A river of tears flowed down her cheeks. She counted the money again and again and again. Inside was exactly 10,000 naira, delivered by the universe at her doorstep. How could don't they know? This is exactly what she needed. Till date, logic escapes my mind. Boy did not share her financial status with anybody, least of all these people who were her work contacts. It could have only been a magical situation that the universe knew how to solve. When Boy told me this, I knew that it was time for Boy to leave Africa, and whatever her soul needed to learn in the country, she had learned. And so now the entire universe was helping her to leave the continent. I am Boy. That storyteller you heard from sitting in that chair is my logical mind that tries to reason me out of doing ridiculous things. The naysayers of society who always try to stop me, but I don't listen to them. You know why? Because magic only happens to those who can make it real in their imaginations. Life is so much more than that big house or that flashy car or even that trip to Disneyland. Life is about interacting with the magical universe and experiencing ourselves as the co-creators of our own unique destinies. There are two things you need to create magic: faith and uncertainty. It is not the religious kind of faith. It is beyond belief. It is an inner knowing that life will work out no matter what. You will see others fall in front of you with the same challenges that you have to navigate. But you will not fall because you have the knowing that they don't have. You know that life wants for you what you want for you. And play with uncertainties, live in possibilities, never try to figure it all out. That way you strangle life and drain away all the creative juices from it, reducing it to a very finite experience. Live life like no 2 days are alike. Leave room for that which you can never plan. Do you have the courage to live like that? Then you will experience real magic. I am not saying life is a bed of roses or a path without challenges. Even Cinderella had to go through many dark nights of the soul before fairy godmother decided to help her. So did Aladdin before his genie appeared. It is because of those challenges that we come to experience ourselves as unsinkable, unstoppable, invincible, incorrigible. Can you play? Can you sing? Can you dance the dance of life? Then you will live a life of passion and purpose. Because life is abracadabra. I just told you 2 stories here today. But this has happened to me not once, not twice, not thrice. This has happened to me over and over and over again, so many times that I realized there is this new dimension of reality called magic. You have to tune into the dimension to experience it. If you are out of tune, you don't experience it. In the end, I still like stories. Recently, I penned a book with 21 such magical stories from my escapades across the globe. But there are so many more that I couldn't possibly write them all down. Magic is a lifestyle for me. Before leaving, I wish to recite a few lines from Ithaca. When you set out on your journey to Ithaca, pray that the road is long, full of adventure, full of knowledge. The Lestrygonians and the Cyclops, the angry Poseidon, do not fear them. You will never encounter such as these on your path. If your thoughts remain lofty, if a fine emotion touches your spirit and your body. The Lestrygonians and the Cyclops, the fierce Poseidon, you will never encounter. if you do not carry them within your soul, if your heart does not set them up before you. The magic is contained in those last two lines. Read them again. If you do not carry them within your soul, if your heart does not set them up before you. Ithaca is a Greek poem by Konstantinos Kavafis. I had read its English translation long before any of my voyages had even begun. And whenever I felt despair, I always turned to the words of Ithaca that solaced my soul at such dire moments. Before I leave today, I would like to leave you with one of my own quotes. Logic is tragic because it has no magic.